Hello, Spartan fans. Welcome to Center Court, Upstate Basketball Insider, for our latest edition of the Inside Look at Upstate Hoops. Alongside, as always, is Coach Eddie Payne. Coach, you're coming off another road trip through the Sunshine State. Those are familiar this time of year. And you split the two games, a win on the road at Stetson, and then you fall to Florida Gulf Coast. Look back on the week that was and walk us through where your team sits right now as we come down the home stretch in conference play.
Well, you know, first game on the road, Stetson. Anytime you play on the road, you know, a win's a great thing, and we played fairly well in that game, fairly consistently throughout the game. Didn't have any bad stretches. Worked the lead early in the game, ran them out of the zone. Then for the first time in several games, we played against man-to-man. They tried to pressure us and get up into us, and we handled it fairly well. We had a couple a couple short stretches where we didn't move the ball well, but all in all, we performed well, particularly late in the game, and took a 10-point lead and pushed it out to 20 in the last 5-6 minutes.
Let's take a look back at those two contests. First, the game on the road at Stetson, and then the battle with Florida Gulf Coast. You mentioned the ability to pull away down the stretch at Stetson. What were the things you felt like as a basketball team you did very well in that contest?
Well, during the time where we did, there was a period of time offensively we had guys trying to make plays, and then we got down to about the 5-minute mark and we had a good working margin. We just talked about, hey, let's just move the ball. We're in the bonus, make them chase us, we'll shoot free throws. And it's kind of like transformed their mindset a little bit. We're not necessarily trying to shoot, we're just trying to move the ball. Well, when that happened, guess what happened? We started getting layups and broke them down defensively. So we made that mental shift, if you will. At least the players did. I had already made it. I was thinking we need to do this, but when that happened, that enabled us to open up the game.
The win in DeLand puts Upstate in a position with a win on senior night to clinch a home playoff game in the first round of the conference tournament. Then you travel a little farther south, a very physical game, Coach, against Florida Gulf Coast, and Ty Green leads the way for you once again down there with over 30 points.
Yeah, Ty played exceptionally well. They beat him up pretty bad. We're a little upset about the way teams have been playing him. There was Gulf Coast consciously, purposely tried to be physical with Ty. Maybe they hadn't been paying attention. I don't think you can intimidate that young man. But conversely, though, they played what appeared to be and what was said and described by people down there as their best game of the year, and really played well, shot the ball well. We just had a hard time stopping them. They were very proficient from the three-point line, 48% or something like that. A lot of deep threes, just extremely, played extremely well with Comer and Thompson and Jones. They're three senior guys that really were effective in that game. So, they're better than we are when they play like that, and they certainly played exceptionally well.
Eagles putting things together and pulling away themselves in the end in that second game of the week. Some of your role players getting some big minutes in that game. We haven't talked a lot about Jacob Schulte yet on one of these shows, but he seems to be coming along in playing time and really is a presence inside for you of late.
Jake has done an exceptional job, particularly in light of the fact that he's a freshman, in light of the fact that he's not what you'd call a prolific offensive player. He's a tough kid, though. He's a good position player. He's a good rebounder. Fits in with the offense in terms of how it flows. Can give us something when people spread us by guarding the perimeter a little bit better. He just does a number of things that don't show up in the box score that help us. And he's had a great freshman year, I think.
He's one of the freshmen certainly making a contribution. Another of those role players really stepping up of late is Marvin Smith. And Marvin was nice enough to sit down with us in our Get to Know Your Spartan segment. Let's check in with Marvin.
What's up? I'm Marvin Smith, number 2 on the men's basketball Upstate Spartans team. I know I'm from Memphis, but I'm actually not an Elvis fan. And sad as it may sound, I have not been in Graceland. My family members have not been in Graceland. Every time I go out of town or everything, they always ask me the same question you just asked me. Am I an Elvis fan? Have I been in Graceland? And I always say no. The best barbecue out of Memphis, South Carolina, North Carolina, I have to go with Memphis because it's the hometown. My favorite spot to go to in Memphis, this small spot, and it's called A&R Barbecue. Conference I was in Kansas. The Jayhawk West Conference was actually the top JUCO conference, one of the top JUCO conferences in the world. So it was pretty competitive. If I could have a superpower, I think it'd be probably either I can fly or I can just zap myself to wherever I think about. Like I said, we were just in Florida and I was ready to come back to Spartanburg. I was just telling one of my teammates, I wish I could just zap back to Spartanburg. So this probably be my superpower. Well, my dream vacation is go anywhere outside the States because I haven't left the States yet. So somewhere cool, relaxed, chilled by the beach. I like to eat a lot. I have a lot of favorite foods, but I say honey gold wings and rotel. That'll have to be I know there's 2, but I got to combine them into one. So that's probably my favorite meal.
Thanks, Marvin. Always good to learn a little more about one of our Spartan athletes in the Get to Know Your Spartan segment. We'll break away, come back with more Center Court in just a moment.
For 35 years, the Atlantic Sun Conference has supported its member institutions in their commitment to the hard work, dedication, and determination of building winners for life. As the ASUN aggressively seeks to expand opportunities, its student athletes and the institutions they represent stand among the nation's best in academics, athletics, and service to their communities. At the ASUN, the aim is the successful balance of student and athlete. The Atlantic Sun Conference, at its best, building winners for life.
Welcome back to Center Court. We continue now with a look at the women's basketball program, and Coach Tammy George, generous to visit with us as always. Coach, disappointing week. You're up against the top tier in the Atlantic Sun Conference, but you have to be pleased that here you are going into the final week of the regular season, very much in the fight for a home game in the first round of the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're just taking it one game at a time. As we've said all year long, each game is so important when you're separated between, third and 6th or 7th like that with one game. So each game is important. I do feel like we're in it's still in our hands. We're in a good spot.
Would you have taken where you sit right now if they had told you at the beginning of the season this is where you would be with a chance to host a home game?
I would like for a better situation, but yeah, I'll take it right now. We're in the situation that we are in.
Let's talk about these past 2 games. You faced teams that has given everybody trouble in the Atlantic Sun Conference this year, but I thought you fought real well, and especially the taste that you left in everyone's mouth here in the Hodge Center on Saturday night of really battling Florida Gulf Coast, an unbeaten team in the conference right down to the wire.
Yeah, again, this is, like you said, just 2 tough teams for everybody else as well, and I just felt like we did, especially on Saturday. I felt like we competed, and we kept it around the 10-point game, and then it seems like every time we got close, they would hit a big 3 to push it back up. But I did, and I told our kids after the game I was really proud of them. I felt like we competed, and I feel like we're playing really well right now. again, we playing some very good competition, but I felt like we might be peaking a little bit. So I'm very excited where we are in the situation that we have these last 2 games.
Well, if you get to pick a moment that you're going to peak, this would be it.
That would be correct.
Your 3 usual suspects were involved again this past week. Charmaine Edwards just continues to make the best of her senior season. Starling showed up big in that game on Saturday, and Brittany Clincy really stepped up especially early.
And that's good to see. Again, you know, Starling and Charmaine have been key all year long, but it's good to see Clincy start to step up a little bit. I felt like she played really, really well. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but I think she played about 40 minutes that game, and handled the ball and scored for us, and that's good to see. I think that's a little bit of a key role that she did for us last year, so it's good to see her stepping up into that role a bit more and take a little bit of a load off Charmaine and help out, with Starling and getting in the scoring column.
When you play 2 tough contests like you did, and you play as well as you did, we felt like those of us who watched on Saturday, what do you say to them in the locker room after a game like that in preparation for what's to come?
It was really good for us, and I think, there's something you can take from a loss, and that we took away that we competed. And again, like I said earlier, I like where we are right now. With everybody struggled with these 2 teams, but I felt like we competed, made it a game. We made it a little bit of a threat. And I just like where we are. It's a good time to be peaking, like you said, and just keep our heads up and keep every day just try to get better and better, and good things will happen to us. Your journey toward even better seating this week begins with a trip to the Music City. Break down Lipscomb and that basketball game for us. Well, it was a close one here. Our second start of the conference season was here against Lipscomb, and they're a good basketball team. They fight and play hard. They can shoot the basketball. They got a lot of threats from the outside. They got 2 very good basketball players in Fothergill and Ashley Southern. So it'll be a challenge for us on the road. We got to defend the 3-point line, and hopefully we can score on the other end. I know as a coach you don't like to look too far ahead, but we won't visit with you again until after that Northern Kentucky game. It looks like it's all going to come down maybe to that contest as far as a home game. Break down the Norse for us, who are eligible for conference tournament play this year. Well, again, hopefully we'll come out on top on Wednesday, and then again, if it does boil down, it'll be good to be at home. Again, I think we play very well at home. I like where we are, and I like that matchup. We've struggled with them in the past. We almost pulled an upset up there at their place, and I think that'll be fresh in our kids' minds. And again, being at home, senior night, and those kind of things, I think all those things will play in effect. I like our odds. Is there one thing you're going to look for this week as a telltale sign of how ready your team is to play and how prepared you are for these games? I'm going to keep competing and just go out and fight and just play hard, and I feel like we're doing that right now. And that's really pleasing to me. I think when you can get them to do those things, and the rest of the little things like all those other things will take care of themselves. Tammy George and this basketball team, they've made it interesting going into the last week of conference play, to say the least. You'll want to keep up with everything related to their program on the road Wednesday at upstatespartans.com, and then we'll have, of course, the live broadcast on Saturday of the regular season finale. Congratulations on a good season so far, Coach. All the best this week. Thank you. We'll be back with more Center Court right after the break.
People know you and they get to know you on a personal level, and they know your abilities.
And this is really a place where I have seen, and I mean this is a place where I've seen students come here and really try to figure out who it is that they are.
Is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I think every college kid goes through that. But being here at Upstate, being a part of so many different programs, I know what my purpose is. And I can say that with confidence.
You don't get lost in the crowd at Upstate.
USC Upstate is a place where people can discover themselves.
Welcome back to Center Court. Coach Payne remains with us. And Coach, this is your Inside the Game segment. Usually we take a moment to break a play down here, but what we want to do this week, with it being a special week, Senior Day coming up on Wednesday night, is kind of break down the impact of these seniors. Are there words in the English language that can communicate the kind of impact Fred Miller, Mario Blessing, and Ty Green have had on this program?
Well, I just think you describe it. I mean, they came in as freshmen. We had, they were all freshmen. They're all guards. We'd won 5 games the year before with a pretty good crew of players, but no, none of them were guards. Torrey Craig and Ricardo Glenn and Jod Maxey and those guys. So we went from 5 wins to 21 wins. And it was with all freshmen guards, which is, other than Kentucky, maybe that doesn't happen. Very unusual. win 21 games, have the best turnaround in the country, and those kids brought toughness and a good heady play and all those things to the table pretty much as soon as they got here. And then we win a few more games, they'll finish their careers of averaging 20 wins a year throughout their career. Now, that's pretty special. And along the way, they're really special kids. They haven't caused us any problems. They don't, they do the things they're supposed to do. They get in the gym, they work, they set an example. They've been good leaders. I mean, from a coaching perspective, you couldn't ask for more than what they have done for our team in this program. And certainly we're going to honor them and fed them, but also, we're going to miss them a lot too.
Speaks to their impact that this will not be their final home game. You would think if they're able to take care of business down the stretch, they have a chance to have another postseason game here in the Atlantic Sun Conference. Coach, one more thing that we'll ask you about those three. I know they're very special to you as individuals. What will you share with them as they go into senior night?
Oh, I won't talk a whole lot about the night until the night the celebration occurs. We'll talk about preparing and try to keep them focused in on that stuff, and we'll reflect after it's over. But I think we have to, and I think they will embrace that. We approach the game as a big game because it's our next game, and try to keep focused on our assignments and our duties. But no, I won't get nostalgic until afterwards.
Then the nostalgia will come, and certainly an emotional night as three very important pieces to the puzzle in this Upstate program will play here one final time in a regular season fashion. One of those seniors is the focus of our Spartanburg Regional Medicine Injury Report, and that's Ty Green. He's maybe the toughest guy on this basketball team, but he was a little banged up coming back from South Florida. Walk us through his health.
Well, they were running up under him when he shot his jump shots, and then they have a freshman that got up under him, and he came down and landed on his foot and rolled his ankle, and pretty good ankle sprain. So he gets 3 shots. So he says he's okay to shoot him because we wanted him to shoot him because then they can pick whoever they want to shoot him. So he makes 2 out of 3. Fortunately, he makes the last one. Then we get him out of the game. Sandy takes him in there, wraps him up, and then he comes back after that and ends up with 31 points. Yes. I think he's going to play on senior night, but he had a fairly significant ankle sprain. But as he does with everything, he's right on it. He's getting treatment 3, 4, 5 times a day. I mean, that young man is, from a preparation standpoint as well as a playing standpoint, puts all he's got into it, and that's why he's as good as he is.
Never takes a play off, does he?
No, Ty's a special player.
Time for our creative segment on this edition of Center Court. Let's check in, as always, with Alex Love.
I'm Alex Love reporting for Center Court, and I'm here in the Jasmine's Cafe on campus with my new friend Evan. Evan, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So February is known for Black History Month, and we're going around campus wanting to ask students, who would you say is the most inspiration behind the African-American civil rights movement, and why would that be?
In my opinion, it would be W.E.B. Du Bois. His outlook on how America should function with a new African-American population in it, I don't know, a lot could be said for it, as it's really influential, and he had a really good outlook on what you can achieve together as a people.
I guess I'd just say Martin Luther King for obvious reasons, of course.
I would have to say Martin Luther King Jr., just for his massive contribution to the civil rights movements during the 1960s.
In Black History Month, who would you say is the most influential leader throughout American Black history, and why would that be?
I think I would have to go with my idol, Oprah Winfrey. She was the first African American to be on the Forbes billionaire list. So I think not even just about the money, she is just very influential just to all African American women, to all African American people. So I would have to say Oprah Winfrey, Alex.
A woman who cares and is a billionaire. I'm Alex Love reporting for Center Court.
And now we ask Coach Payne to break down the two upcoming games on this final week of the regular season. It will be Lipscomb here at home, as we've documented on senior night, and then on the road to finish things up against Northern Kentucky. Coach, they couldn't be any bigger than these two. I know we talk about it every week. They're all big, but now you're really fighting for the final positioning in the Atlantic Sun standings.
Well, Lipscomb's been a dangerous team all year. They're a good team. They beat us, obviously, up there by 2, I think it was. And they've got a key player back. Martin Smith is his name. There's 2 brothers on that team, Marvin and Martin. Martin's an additional perimeter shooting threat, and that's how they play, and that's what makes them so dangerous. They spread you out, and they can make threes on you. So with that young man back in the lineup, they're even more potent. So that'll be a real challenge for us. And then Northern Kentucky's been playing really well, particularly at home. Very good team at home. So, those are 2 big challenges as you finish up the regular season.
Spartans will try to avenge that loss on the road in Nashville and send the seniors out on a very positive note in their final regular season home game. You can come out and let these seniors know how much you appreciate their time on campus. And Coach, as always, we appreciate your time and wish you the best in this final week of the regular season.
Thank you, Jason.
Now it's time for us to tally your votes in our social media Play of the Week. Surviving from a week ago, the solid defensive effort by a number of players on the men's team, and it will be up against Charmaine Edwards, who sliced her way through the lane in an outstanding performance from last week's women's basketball action. Again, you will tweet to @UpstateSpartans using the hashtag #CCTopPlay to let us know which play you hope survives to the next edition of Center Court. Heading into the final week of the regular season, you'll want to stay very close to all the athletic information at UpstateSpartans.com to find out where both the men's and women's team will be headed or who they'll be hosting in the upcoming Atlantic Sun Conference Tournament. And we'll look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of Center Court, Upstate Basketball Insider.